She never smiled. She never laughed. She never even blinked. For years, we watched her dominate the screen with her iron will and unsettling stare. We laughed at her cynical remarks and her inexplicable power over the Grim Reaper himself. But what if the truth behind this little girl from Ennsville is far more sinister than we ever imagined? What if the reason Mandy seemed so different, so otherworldly, is because she wasn't alive at all? For those who may not remember, Mandy was one of the three main characters in the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy. Alongside the idiotic but cheerful Billy, she won the Grim Reaper in a limbo contest, forcing him to be their best friend forever. But friend is a loose term here, isn't it? From the very first episode, Mandy was anything but a typical child. Voiced with a chillingly monotonous perfection by Gray Delisle, she was intelligent, cynical, and utterly ruthless. While Billy was all chaos and emotion, Mandy was the void. Her personality wasn't just cold, it was unnaturally so. She didn't just dislike things, she seemed to hold a deep-seated contempt for life itself. Her relationship with Grim is the first clue. It was never a friendship of equals. From day one, she was the master, and he, the literal personification of death, was her servant. Think about that. How does a mere mortal child command such absolute authority over a fundamental force of the universe? When you start looking for it, the evidence is everywhere. It's in the subtle details the animators left for us to find. First, her complete lack of emotion. Mandy almost never smiles. In the rare instances she does, it's either a sinister smirk or, in one famous episode, her smile is so unnatural that it literally rips the fabric of reality apart. Why would a simple facial expression from a child have such a cosmic effect? Second, only she can truly command Grim. While Billy might occasionally get his way through sheer stupidity, Mandy's control is absolute. It's not persuasion, it's an inherent authority. It's as if Grim recognizes a power in her that is equal to, or perhaps even greater than, his own. Then there's her voice, always calm, always level, almost lifeless. It lacks the natural cadence and emotion of a human child. It's a voice that observes, commands, but never truly participates in the messiness of life. And perhaps most tellingly, there are moments where her connection to darkness is made explicit. In one memorable episode, she becomes the mistress of the spiders, and in another, she embraces chaos and evil with an ease that is truly unsettling for a child. It's more than just a character trait. It's a fundamental part of her being.
I told you, you should have let me go first. The hand won't. I live my worst nightmare every day, living with you to protect me.
The clues aren't just in what we saw, but also in the symbolism surrounding the character. While there are no confirmed deleted scenes of Mandy vanishing into mirrors, the show is filled with allusions to her almost supernatural power. Fans have long pointed out that her character design itself is a form of symbolism. Her hair, with its horn-like points, and her perpetually dark expression give her a demonic, almost otherworldly appearance. While direct confirmation is scarce, a common trait for creators who enjoy leaving things to interpretation, the fan community has been buzzing for years. There are whispers of early concept art depicting a far more sinister version of Mandy, with some fans claiming to have seen designs with black, pupilless eyes. The lack of a direct link to a specific deity of death, like a Greek goddess, might be intentional. Mandy isn't a representation of a known entity. She is something more fundamental. The show was always a master of dark humor and satire, and what could be more satirical than death itself being embodied by a small, unimpressed girl from the suburbs. So, why wasn't this made more explicit? The most obvious answer is that The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy was, at its core, a children's show. Cartoon Network in the early 2000s pushed the boundaries, but there were still lines that couldn't be crossed. Revealing that one of your main characters is a literal embodiment of a dark, primordial force was likely a step too far for the censors. The show was already dark. Making this canon would have transformed it from a quirky comedy into something much more akin to a philosophical horror series. There have been fan-circulated rumors of writers hinting at Mandy's true nature in interviews, with one supposed quote being, "We weren't allowed to show what Mandy really is." While the exact source of this quote is hard to pin down, it perfectly encapsulates the feeling that there was always more to Mandy than we were being shown. The writers had to be subtle, using her actions and the reactions of the world around her to hint at the immense power she held in check. This brings us to the final, unsettling conclusion. Mandy isn't just Grimm's friend or his master. Mandy is death. Not the Grim Reaper, not a collector of souls, but the end itself. The final, inevitable, and unimpressed cessation of being. Grimm is merely the functionary, the one who does the work. Mandy is the concept, the power, the cold and inescapable reality. This reframes the entire series, doesn't it? It's no longer a show about two kids and their supernatural friend. It becomes an ironic parable about our relationship with the end. We have Billy, who represents life in all its chaotic, joyful, and idiotic glory, constantly running from and yet fascinated by the end. And we have Mandy, the end itself, forced into a reluctant eternal dance with the life she is destined to conclude. The entire show is a brilliant, long-form joke about accepting the inevitable, about how death is not some terrifying monster, but a small, unimpressed girl who is just as bored with it all as we are afraid of it.